people are not doing the research and they're believing this scam that is actually going on. Am I saying that something didn't come out of a lab in Wuhan? No, I'm not. But is it what people are saying? Have we completely overreacted?
Hey out there, everybody. Alex Newman with the New American, and today we are very honored to have with us the great Mark Sutherland. He is a film producer, an amazing film producer. If you haven't seen his stuff yet, you've got to see it. I just watched one recently. I think it was maybe 15 or 20 minutes. Just phenomenal. So go check out his stuff. He is also a brother from jolly old England, and he has some very astute observations about what's going on there. And the reason I wanted to bring him on today is because what happens in the UK, what happens in Scandinavia, tends to come over to the United States. Give or take 5, 10, maybe 15 years later if we're lucky. Starts off in California and then moves over. So I wanted to get some of his insights into what's happening over in Europe, share with you guys, and you can recognize the threat that we're facing here. So Mark, thank you so much for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you.
Well, it's an absolute pleasure to be with you, my brother. Thank you, Alex, very much.
It's great to have you, Mark. And I think the last time we hung out in person was at a conference in Montana where you and I both spoke, and you had some amazing remarks about the EU. So let's start with that. I know a lot of Americans were told that hey, the Brits voted for Brexit. Hey, they're free. Declaration of Independence. Now they don't have to live under the jackboots of the European Union superstate. What is really going on with the Brexit? Are you guys free yet, or what's happening?
No, in many ways, yes, but in other ways, no. As you know, 17,410,752 people, the majority of over a million on the 23rd of June voted out. And we've spent 4 years until the 12th of December. We spent 4 years at war with our own parliament, with the House of Westminster, realizing that many of our members of parliament did not represent democracy. We are a democracy. You are a constitutional representative republic, and they are two different systems. But the key thing is, we then left officially on the 31st of January this year, after Boris Johnson won a huge landslide on the 12th of December last year with 80-seat majority. We left. We then have to negotiate a trade deal until the beginning of December in which to do that. So where are we at? Well, we've seen that this virus has destroyed the European Union, basically. It's destroyed it. We're now looking at an Italian exit. We could be looking at a Greek exit. We are also looking at the fact that suddenly the French and the Germans discovered that they needed border control again, because it's like we have to have border control within our nation to stop this virus, I'm deliberately saying that, spreading from one place to from one country to another. So where are we at? We are at the fact that the Barnier, the big sort of negotiator in regard to the EU, there's been this whole row about fishing. And I remember when we met, and in Montana, I made the point that we lost as soon as we joined the EU. We lost our fishing rights and all this kind of thing. So now the EU are saying, well, the waters are yours. That will be no problem. But we're still seeing boats coming over the channel of illegal immigrants coming over the channel, etc., and all this kind of thing. There seems, and you can ask that question. Is like I'm asking that who is actually running our country at the moment is a big issue, Alex.
Well, thank you for sharing that, Mark. And so, Boris Johnson, he kind of gets painted as a conservative. I guess he's in the conservative party. And so Americans hear that and they think like, oh, he's a conservative like us. What's the status with the government over there? I know a lot of the same kind of policies that the far left was promoting, the destruction of the culture, the LGBT agenda, the mass migration. A lot of that's still going on. So what's the situation with the government in the UK, and is this what voters voted for?
Very, very good question. I mean, at the end of the day, people have always thought that the Conservative Party was a broad church. There's a load of liberal progressive stuff that's gone in there, and that's what they've put in. If we say, as much as this is profoundly controversial, but we're talking history, David Cameron, conservative again, Prime Minister, then pushes through redefining marriage, gay marriage. That was never ever in the man of that time. Push that through from a conservative government. So I would turn around and say to you, as you would say to me, in the definition of conservative, to conserve, no, they don't want to conserve anything, frankly. Ideally, I mean, Boris Johnson is a big sort of a big follower of Churchill. Has written a book about Churchill, etc., etc. And there is no doubt about it, as he has said, I want to rule this country, not rule, but yes, maybe that's like that. I want to be prime minister of this country as a one nation Tory. In other words, do have a north-south divide. So very quickly, he had won 80 seats as a mandate, and he had taken over many, many Labour seats. He went through what's called, from the Midlands up north, he burst through what's called the Red Wall. And so when you take seats like Sedgley that have been Labour held ever since they were established, that is a major, major thing. But we have seen the throwout of MPs like Amber Rudd and stuff like that, who I would just call progressive. Under this whole coronavirus lockdown, we have then seen a push for home abortions. We are now seeing another push for what sexual ethics are then taught in schools, etc., etc. And they are not conservative values,
Yeah.
has to be said. So in other words, where you've got, Republican in name only, a bunch of rhinos, we've had our own linos, leave in name only, or be a conservative in name only. I mean, we could go on when we have within our political system all the parties going, we have to stay in the EU. It's as though we've been living in a communist state, and at the moment we are.
Wow. And so what's in the last few minutes we have left, Mark? What are some of the big issues affecting the UK right now? What's the situation with the lockdowns? I know they've been in many ways more intense than what we've had in many of our American states here. And I know you've been talking a little bit about potentially getting out of there. If you want to share anything about that, we'd love to hear it. And tell us, what are some of the top issues on people's minds? What are people concerned about? What should Americans be thinking about when it comes to the UK?
Well, I mean, if we look at it there's no doubt about it, tech-wise, right? In California, we look at who is established tech-wise in California. Whatever happens in California ends up going across to the rest of America and the rest of the world. That is rather interesting in that way, and also spiritually. Now, for us, I just want to make this point. On March the 19th, we downgraded the highly infectious disease of this virus on the 19th of March on the UK government website. And then we immediately, as I shared with you in the past, we immediately went into lockdown on the 24th, 23rd, 24th. The fact that Neil Ferguson of Imperial College has came up with models that are completely and utterly erroneous for this side of the pond and your side of the pond. He needs to be in jail, as far as I'm concerned, or in the Tower of London. That's it, period. They are the major things. But the other major thing is that people are not doing the research and they're believing this scam that is actually going on. Am I saying that something didn't come out of a lab in Wuhan? No, I'm not. But is it what people are saying? Have we completely overreacted where we have dumped a quarter of our gross domestic product? We have damaged our economy by a quarter of a percent. Quarter. That's how much it has shrunk by 25%. So are we in a position now to pay the debts that we actually earn? That is the major issue. We also have major mental health issues. All of this. And we have suddenly gone. We've shoved a load of people in nursing homes who's died. We've seen fiddles of death certificates and all this. All the same kind of stuff that's been going on in the United States and other parts of the world.
Yeah, it's crazy times, Mark. So, what are the prospects? I mean, is there any political party? I know a lot of Americans follow Nigel Farage, and think that he's got some good ideas. Well, is there any hope for the UK, or is it
Well,
doomed? What do you think?
well, it's very interesting. At the moment, I feel it's quite doomed because I feel as though who is actually running the government? I've come to the conclusion that it's a civil service, and our civil service is completely and utterly, it's one big leftist endemic. And then if they've all been doing common purpose training courses that ask you to think beyond authority, think beyond the boundaries and and your nation state, then what a surprise! And there is a complete and utter programming, and we are looking, to me, at a Marxist utopian push. And that's exactly what's going on. This is worldwide, Alex. I don't have to tell you that. You see it, sir.
Yeah, that is so true. And your comments made me think of the show, probably the best British show I ever watched, Yes Minister. Right? They said the minister walks in and, hey,
Mm,
I need you to do this, that, and the other. Yes, Minister, and then they go right back out and they do whatever the heck they want to. Huh? Mark, in the
absolutely.
last 30 seconds that we have left here, tell us how people can find your films. Give us your website. How can people learn more about you and what you're doing and what's going on in jolly old England?
That's very kind of you. You can find me on marksutherland.org is my website. Please check out Between Lambs and Lions and check out our latest short film, The Iris Echo, which is a warning about communism, and suddenly it's arrived.
Excellent. Well, Mark, thank you so much for being with us. Really appreciate it, folks. Go check out Mark's website. His little films are incredible. They're not long, they're not huge movies, but they're just excellent, excellent stuff. So go check those out. Mark, thank you once again for being with us, and God bless you all.